All right. Sarah Moras, thank you so much for the time. I know you're at home in quarantine life. Give us a little bit of what you've been going through.
I'm lucky in a lot of ways because my boyfriend is my main training partner, so he's stuck in this house with me. So yeah, I have my main training partner locked in the same house with me. So I've really lucked out that way, but it is definitely different. Not being able to go to the gym, not having other people to work with, not being around my coaches and everything like that.
We spoke about a week ago, I believe, and you were kind of in limbo because you were thinking that you might have to go back to Canada. Can you go through that whole process? Because at the same time, you're getting ready for a fight.
Yeah, I guess I'm still in the process of kind of debating whether it's safer to be in Canada right now or the US. It's also a bit difficult because I'm here living here with a work visa through UFC. And the restrictions to travel back to the US are for citizens and green card holders, which I am not. So I'm thinking if I have a fight outside of the US, but they haven't discussed where it is yet, that I won't be able to get back home afterwards. But if it is in the US and I go back home, then I won't be able to get here for my fight. So it's kind of like trying to weigh out my options. Hopefully they decide something soon and I can go from there.
What is your biggest concern staying in Las Vegas rather than going back to Canada?
I guess my biggest concern with being in Vegas is just because I have a work visa through UFC, I can only work for them. So um if this fight gets postponed, I need to figure out a way to make some money, and I can't do it legally here.
Oh, that is a major concern. Now with Extreme Couture, that's where you train most of the time, right? It shut its doors. Have
Yeah.
you been able to get in there at least a few hours, or is it just completely shut down?
I'm sure, like, I know my coach offered me to go in there, but right now with the state everything's in, I just really don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk getting sick before my fight and then having it canceled and me being sick. So I'm just trying to stay as healthy as I can, avoid as many people as I can, just stay in my house as much as possible.
How many weeks were you into your training camp when until you decided to lock it down?
I think we've been locked down for almost 2 weeks now. I guess I trained like Friday 2 weeks ago, so tomorrow will be, or the day after will be 2 weeks. Um, but I found out about this fight in January, so even though I wasn't going full force right away, I was still game planning and really working on a lot of stuff. And before that, I was actually working on a lot of parts of my game that I needed to work on aside from techniques. So I really got my weight managed and controlled before that, and I just really cleared up my mental state a lot. I've been processing a lot of stuff and figuring stuff out, so I feel like I had those two things sorted going into this fight camp, which just made it so I was 100% able to work on techniques. So even at the beginning of going into quarantine, I felt like fight ready. My weight was good. Everything was good. I was moving really good. So yeah, I mean, I wish I could have fought 2 weeks ago instead of 3 weeks from now. But
Going back to the mental aspect of fighting, what exactly did you do to better yourself on that side?
you know what? I had to really I I don't really know how to describe it. I had to process a lot of things, um, like past traumas and past things, and just kind of really wrap my head around it and really understand that a lot of the issues I had and a lot of the issues I had with my self confidence and with a lot of negative things on how I looked at myself was from previous things that happened to me in the past, and just really processing that and living through that. I I don't know, I kind of realized where it all came from, and then I was able to let it go and just believe in myself again.
Your last fight in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, UFC 242. It was a very, very vicious performance. That's the only word that I could describe it. How much weight was lifted off your shoulders? Because you were on that three fight skid.
Yeah, yeah, that sucked going into that fight with just that in my mind, but I just had to focus on everything I had worked on and just, yeah, I mean,
Mm.
at the end of the day, you got to go in, right? So just go in and try to do the best you can. I felt like I was better than her in every area going into the fight. So that definitely gave me a lot of confidence going into it. But, at this level, everyone's a killer. So you always got to be prepared. And I guess yeah, I mean, now I'm giving myself more credit, whereas before I didn't realize I was also a killer.
Awesome, awesome. Now, you're in isolation, so does it give you more time to do other aspects of preparation?
Like, honestly, it doesn't. Like, I was like, oh, I'll get the kitchen clean and I'll do this and I'll do that. And I'm like, so like, but at the end of the day, I'm training probably just as much as I was before. So I'm just as exhausted as I normally am. And I really don't have any extra time that I thought I would. Like, a lot of my downtime is just recovering for the next training session. So, yeah, I've just really been focusing on this fight and just, I guess, the virus too, and making sure I'm making the right choices along the way.
Having your boyfriend there must be a phenomenal it's a phenomenal thing because some people they're just alone and they could be preparing for a fight by themselves.
Yeah, that would suck for sure.
Mm.
And like, yeah, like Cleve just fought recently in January, so his weight's like low, and usually when I'm in fight camp, he's really around my weight, and when he's in fight camp, I'm around his weight. Like, I guess like living together, our diets kind of balance each other out, so he actually makes for a really good training partner because he's like the perfect size too.
Do you do a lot of film study normally, or have you done a little bit extra during this time?
So actually, like right before we went to Abu Dhabi, we bought a brand new camera and we wanted to like vlog our Turkey trip, which we kind of started to do recently, a lot after, like way after the fact. But like as we've been going on, Cleve's getting better and better with the camera and with technique, and that's kind of his new hobby. So he's been able to film and stuff. And at the gym, we've been filming, but a lot of it has been more game planning and stuff, and I don't really want to show all of it. But at home, we're able to do different techniques with it and cut it and do what we want. So I've been trying to add a little more.
Yeah, definitely. Turkey. Why did you decide to go to Turkey?
It was before a lot of this crazy stuff, but I think it probably started with my aunt. She went there like ages ago and just told me that if you want to see all of Europe, but you only have a few weeks, go to Turkey because it was ran by every empire, basically. So you have all different kinds of architecture and just like, and it's really cheap there. So you can go and you can see so much stuff and do so much stuff, and it's just got so much history. It was just, yeah, it was such a cool trip.
How much of a key was sparring, in the second half of your training camp?
Like I like to spar, but at the same time, I feel like I was like pretty on point at the like before all this happened. And like coming from my old gym, we'd spar 3, 4 times a week every single day, going like 100%. So I'm kind of at the point in my career where I don't really want to spar all the time. Like I've just done so much of it and taken so much like head trauma that I don't really need to take anymore. I feel like I understand that aspect and just I've been really getting used to like a lot of different things and working on different things. But I do miss sparring because it's also like the nerves of it and everything like that. That's similar to what fighting is.
It seems like every fighter goes through those periods of where they're sparring hard and then they don't really spar at all and then they get back to sparring hard again.
Yeah, I mean, like we love to fight, right? So sparring's the closest we get to that when we only get to fight 2 or 3 times a year or one time sometimes, right? So sparring is where we get to do that more, which is really fun, but it also takes a toll on the body. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I've been in the sport quite a while, so um, yeah, I do enjoy it, but I would do limit it a lot more than I used to.
Your upcoming opponent, Eubanks, she's lost 2 straight decisions to Aspen Ladd, most recently Betch Coera. When you watch those performances, what do you think of her performances?
I think she's talented, and I think she's really aggressive in the first round, which I know people probably say about me too, which might be why they matched us up. But then I noticed she kind of slows down a bit after that. I'm expecting her to have cardio for days, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, she's got a lot of power in the first round, but I think I'm ready for it.
The location is uncertain. There's been talks of Dubai, Florida, Korea. People are like, oh, do it on a battleship. Oh, go do it on an island. Where would you prefer to do it?
Honestly, because I'm in the US, I'd really love it for it to be in the US somewhere so that, yeah, I don't have to worry about being able to get back home afterwards. Yeah, I don't know what Vegas is doing, but it'd be sweet if it was at the PI or the Apex Center. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't see it happening in the US, so I'm ready for whatever, whenever.
You were probably pretty excited when they actually did say that it wasn't going to happen in Brooklyn, and then they were going to bring it to the PI most likely at the Apex. And you were in Vegas already. You're like, yes, I don't even have to fly to Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, especially with this coronavirus going around and just airports being a little more sketchy, I'm like, at least I don't have to go through an airport if it's here. But at the same time, I've been following this since before it got to the US. I've been watching it in China and seeing what's going on, and I kind of figured what's happening would happen. So I've been kind of expecting this sort of unknown, them trying to figure it out. Yeah, I've been kind of expecting this. I'm like, if it happens at the Apex, I think that's the best case scenario, not the worst case scenario. Like other people were saying to me, I'm like, the Apex would be sweet, but yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. I know the Nevada Athletic Commission missed their meeting. I think that was supposed to be yesterday. They canceled it, so I don't know if that's still up in the air or not. Yeah, the government in Nevada is not saying less than 10 people in a building right now or in a room, so I'm not sure how long that's going to go for.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't just have the meeting via Skype or Zoom. There's many different ways you can do it. You don't have to be in the same room together. It's weird. Like, why would they cancel that?
Yeah, I'm guessing they don't know what decision to come up with.
Yeah, most likely. The best way to avoid that would be not to even have a meeting at all.
Yeah, it kind of takes them off the hook a bit, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, April 18th, UFC 249 is going to happen. You are going to fight. Just the location is unknown. I appreciate the time in this time of uncertainty. It's kind of stressful, but thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully we get you on after this whole fiasco is over.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure talking to you.